Hello everyone, welcome to our weekly Dhamma session. Today we have Venerable Sarana with us, and the topic is getting ready for progress and insight. Venerable Sarana was born in the Czech Republic, studied at Catholic High School of Pilsen in West Bohemia. At the age of 15, he became a Buddhist follower after reading about Buddhism in a local library. In 2007, in his 20 years, he moved to Sri Lanka, where he became a novice and trained under Venerable Pemasiri Thero. After receiving a bachelor's degree in 2012 in Buddhist philosophy and religious studies from Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, he moved to Myanmar and was ordained as a Bhikkhu Ashin Saran. There, with the support of his preceptor Sayadaw U Pannavamsa, he trained for 5 years in meditation. He also memorized Pali scriptures. From 2017, Venerable Ashin Sarana actively shared Dhamma and meditation in centers. He also visited countries such as Australia, USA, Singapore, Thailand, and European countries to teach Dhamma and meditation. In 2022, he moved to Vietnam, and since 2022, he has been studying at a master's degree program in clinical mental health counseling at the Liberty University of Virginia. I welcome you, Venerable Bhante, for sharing your Dhamma knowledge and experience. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you. So let's start by a short meditation session. Let's take 10 minutes of meditation so that we are more receptive and at the same time more critically thinking and more curious to learn what's the truth and what helps and what makes sense. So we can sit in a comfortable meditation posture. Make sure your back is erect. Let's see if you can meditate with eyes open. You may be experienced meditating with eyes closed. Let's learn something new today. So we can meditate with eyes open, not wide open, not at all, just half open or half closed, whatever you want to call it. You can keep them open just a little bit, or a third or fourth, whatever is the extent you like more. And we see the floor in front of us, or whatever is there right in front of us. And we can make the first decision in our minds voicelessly. From now on, for 10 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 10 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 10 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice there's a flat piece of sinew at the top of the head. We will be considering its element of earth, namely hardness, heaviness, and its characteristics of impermanence, namely changing. So as we are aging, all the body is changing. That's just the start of the practice, but it's a pretty nice start, easy to understand. When you can master the basics, you can of course go deeper in the realities. So we will be considering the very superficial change and the hardness, heaviness of the flat piece of sinew at the top of the head. We allow it to be heavy and changing. We continue in this manner, considering heaviness and change in muscles and sinews to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, we allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the head to be heavy and changing. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, we allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the upper part of the body to be happy and changing. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes. We allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the body to be happy and changing. And as we allow this body to be the way it is, we achieve freedom from worry about this body. Let's enjoy this freedom. Let's watch this peace. When we have established ourselves in peace, we can share it with other living beings. So in our minds, voicelessly, we can wish, we can allow, may all beings, including me, be in peace. May all beings, including me, be in peace. And we can curiously watch the relationship between the mind and the object of permission. The object is the permission to all beings, including ourselves, to enjoy peace. And we can be mindful of the connection between the mind and the object. Is the connection, the relationship strong or weak? Is it stabilized or is it changing? Is it obvious or is it vague? We are curious and we examine this relationship. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, let's make the last determination in our minds restlessly. From now on, I will always be calm. From now on, I will always be calm. From now on, I will always be calm. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. So, after calming our mind and potentially clearing it up, we can now look at Dhamma. We will be today discussing two purifications. In the Rathavinita Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha explains 7 levels of purification. And these 7 levels of purification start by Sila Visuddhi, the purification of morality, and Chitta Visuddhi, the purification of the mind. When we practice Vipassana, we need to fulfill certain requirements so that Vipassana progresses fast and effectively. It's, for example, as if you were cooking some food. You first need to have that food. You first need to have some oven if you're cooking it. You need to wash your hands. You're ideally clean. You know what you will be cooking. And you're enthusiastic. You have some reason to cook. If none of these things are present, there is a very low probability that you will end up having something cooked. In the same way, if you want to practice vipassana, insight, well then you will need to have developed morality. You will have to have your mind cleared out, ideally from the five hindrances. And also you should have the right attitude. So let's start with morality. So morality is of many kinds. Today, let's talk about morality related to lay people because I expect that most of the audience is lay people today. But of course, I'd be most enthusiastic to talk about the monastic discipline. I'm talking about monastic discipline at international seminars, so I'd be most happy to share with you any of my knowledge if you have a question related to monastic roles. But today let's simplify it and let's talk about the roles of lay people. So what is actually virtue? What is the main point of virtue? So the main point of virtue is to prevent remorse. It's this remorse that totally shatters all your meditation progress. And we want to avoid this remorse from arising during meditation. To avoid remorse, we need to behave well so that we don't have the remorse and so that our meditation can progress. Of course, there are more problems in meditation than just remorse, but remorse is something we can prevent up to some extent through virtue. So we don't do things that we could regret. We could regret things of various kinds, but the Buddha suggests, most importantly, 5 things that we need to avoid, and that's killing, stealing, adultery, telling lies, drinking alcohol, and taking drugs. Some people believe that taking drugs is not mentioned in the 5 precepts, but I'd say it's mentioned there directly. Sura meraya majja pamadatthana. Pamada means forgetfulness. Thana is a basis or condition for. So whatever may condition your forgetfulness, in other words, whatever may reduce your mindfulness, that is not suitable if you want to be again born, at least as a human, or moreover, if you want to achieve some progress in your meditation practice. Killing. We don't kill any living being that is visible under proper conditions with a healthy eye, with a healthy functioning eye. Not only that we just don't kill or harm, but we also practice loving kindness, which is included in the second factor of the Eightfold Noble Path. So the first factor of Eightfold Noble Path is the right view, Sammaditthi, which is further branching into 14 things, 10 views that are related to the world, and the 4 views that are going beyond the world. But let's get back to our sila. So, Samma Sankappa, right thought, consists of 3 factors. The thought of renunciation, thought of non-violence and then thought of non-harming, you may think like non-violence, non-harming, what's the difference? And here, Abhyapada and Avihingsa. So Abhyapada is explained by the commentaries, by the great masters as loving kindness, and Avihingsa um, is explained by the ancient commentaries as compassion. So you have metta, karuna in the second factor of the Eightfold Noble Path, and probably based on this fact, the great Tipitaka Dhara master, the oldest Tipitaka Dhara master still living today in Myanmar, says it is not possible to attain enlightenment without loving kindness. So we have loving kindness embedded in the Eightfold Noble Path. So loving kindness is probably the best way how you can look at following the first precept, the first of the 5 precepts. So not only that we don't kill or harm, but we actually wish and we do our best for the other people's long lifespan, excellent health, happiness, satisfaction, peace. Second precept is no stealing. So not only that we don't just steal, but also we engage in generosity and giving. It is possible to achieve enlightenment without giving. It is even possible to go to heaven without giving, although the probability is low. We have the story of the 2 friends. One of them saying, you know what, for enlightenment, we just need to follow the precepts and meditate. And the other one says, no, we need to also be generous. So they were discussing like this. They didn't come to an agreement, but they decided to tell each other if they can in their next life. So they lived like this. They died. They were born in heaven because they followed precepts. They didn't have a wrong view. The one who was not generous didn't believe that generosity is bad. He just believed that he doesn't need to be generous to become enlightened. And also, he was not generous. So when I say generous, I mean giving, always. So when they died, they were born in heaven for some time, and then they were born as humans during the Buddha Gautama's time. They were born on the same day, in the same place, in the palace, but one was born as the child of the royal family, and the other one as the servant of that prince. And as they were lying down there in their um, baby beds, or whatever you'd call it, they were somehow able to talk. And so the prince is talking to the servant, all the while a worker in the palace or somebody of the royal family is listening to them from behind the door. And the prince is talking to the servant and he says, you know what? Here you see it. You were not generous. You thought that we don't need to give, and here you are. You're my servant. And the servant says, and what's up? No problem. It's just the 4 elements. So as you can see, you do not really have to give in order to be born in heaven or as a human and so on, or to be satisfied. But the point here is that giving increases the probability that you will be successful in anything you want. The Nidhikanda Sutta, the last discourse of Kuddakapata, explains that you can actually use your generous actions, your giving. So when you have something, you see somebody else needs something, so you give it to them so that it's no more yours and it's the possession of the other person. So this is what I call generosity. And when you engage in generosity, you actually gain merit. and you can decide what you use this merit for. You could almost call it the Dhamma money. The Buddha presents the virtue as a kind of Dhamma money. He says, "Oh, dear young man, if you follow, what would you do if somebody said they will give you one kahapana?" Somebody translates kahapana as a dollar, so I'll borrow that here. Suppose that somebody will give you $1 for following the 8 precepts during the day. Would you then follow the precepts? And they said, well, we would. But if they would give you $5, $10, 20, 50, 100. What if somebody gave you $1,000 for following the 8 precepts for one day? I did not explain what are the 8 precepts, but it's a kind of higher virtue where you abstain not only from just harming others and drinking alcohol, but you also abstain from um, entertainment, you reduce your eating and sleep um, in a simple bed. And so they said, yes, Venerable Sir, we would actually follow the 8 precepts if somebody gave us $1,000, or it was kahapanas, after that one day. And the Buddha said, well, then what if they said they will give you another $1,000 if you follow the 8 precepts the second day, and the third day, and the fifth day, and the 10th day, and the 20th day? What if you saved that money and followed the 8 precepts to the rest for the rest of your life? How much money would that be? It would be a huge amount of money. And the point here is that you actually get much more than $1,000 for following 8 precepts during one day. Today, incidentally, is an Uposatha day, and all of you can follow the 8 precepts already now without any excuse saying, oh, I'm so late, so I'm just late, so I will not follow rules. Not at all. You can follow 8 precepts, except that it's no more the full Uposatha, the full 8 precepts, but it becomes Upadhuposatha. Upadhuposatha. That means a half Uposatha. So you're not following it from the morning, you're following it from the evening. And we already have mention of Upadhuposatha in our scriptures. And we know that following Uposatha even for half of the day, which I believe would still be, if you follow it from now on until the dawn of the next day, you still have the full potential to get the full merit of Upadhuposatha, which is a huge, huge merit. Okay, so we do not have unlimited time, so we'll try to make it a little brief, and then you can ask me for more details for whatever you found interesting. There's a lot to talk about the half Uposatha. It's a very powerful thing. If you decide to follow 8 precepts from now until tomorrow dawn, that means that you would not eat anything, no more, except just drinking water until tomorrow dawn. So that is until you see that outside the sky is relatively light due to the coming sunrise, not because of some street lamps and so on, or the full moon day, or the full moon. And you would abstain from listening to music, watching movies, dancing, singing, using musical instruments, applying any makeup, using any jewelry or perfumes. You would also not sleep on high, luxurious, large beds. Instead, you would sleep on the floor. You could spread a mat or a blanket on the floor and sleep on that. So, but make sure that you're warm from your back. You don't want to catch cold during this night. So, you would follow the 8 precepts in this way, and then tomorrow dawn you have earned your $500. But actually, the amount of pleasure and success and peace and um, actually ticket to the heaven. The ticket to heaven is good. Some people don't want to go to heaven, but it's not in accordance with the scriptures. In accordance with the scriptures, we want to go to heaven. If not to Nibbana, you know what I mean? If you cannot get Nibbana, you want to go to heaven, not to the human life. The Buddha never suggested that you want to go to a human life. And so you get a ticket to the heaven for quite a few thousand years, maybe for several hundreds of thousands of years, just for one night of following 8 precepts. So that's sila, virtue. Yeah, we were actually talking about the second precept. Now, in the second precept, not only that we steal, but we are also generous and we give to others whatever they need. For monks, it's a little more complicated. You know, we as monks, we shouldn't be buying lay people by giving them things. So we're having it a little harder. But monks are most encouraged to give their high quality robes, food, places to stay, and medicine to the elder monks or to the prominent monks in their monastery. Then we continue to the precept of sexual misconduct. So, sexual misconduct is related to cheating, but it's not only related to the layperson's cheating, but to supporting another person in their cheating. So, if the layperson is actually not married, but the other person is married, well, then this layperson should not have sexual intercourse with the other person who is married. And of course, if the layperson is married, they will not have sexual intercourse with anyone else than their spouse. Sexual misconduct sometimes is understood as also sexual intercourse with a girl or a boy who are still cared for by their parents. Yes, and a little bit of no. Yes, because indeed, if the woman is taken care of by parents, then practically, if the boy has sex with that girl and the girl becomes pregnant, then it becomes a little bit of surprise and possibly unpleasant surprise for the parents who are taking care of the girl. And the parents might not be able to take care of the child. And when the parents are not able to take care of the child, they will have some thoughts that are not skillful, such as that the girl undergoes abortion. And in Buddhism, abortion is full out murder, like it or not. But I will keep it here, aside, because we're getting to um, amazing topics which I love to talk about, but we are now focusing on something else. So we can return to that later. Now let's move on. So uh, if the boy has sex with a girl who's taken care of by somebody else, then there could be some serious problems. And so it's very much recommended that when people have sexual intercourse, they already have, you know, um, proper environment for taking care of a potential child. And do not think that that preventative measures against getting a child actually are of any assurance or how to say that certainty. You're not really certain. All right, it's actually very common that people use pills and uh, various gadgets and tools and things like that, and still they become pregnant. So no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. So then, when the lady becomes pregnant, and you do not have the environment to take care of the child, well, then you're getting into a serious trouble from the point of Buddhism. And again, I'm reminding you, abortion is full out murder, and there is no excuse for intentional abortion. If it's miscarriage, that's a totally different story. Mm, That's the way it is. But if it is an intentional abortion from by any means, with anything from external, anything from internal, any intention to abort is uh, exactly the same as the intention to kill a full adult, to come to a fully grown adult and stab the person to death by a knife or choke them to death. It's exactly the same thing. All right. So, precept number 4, not telling lies. So we don't tell lies. We don't say that we don't know when we know something. We don't say that we didn't see when we saw. We didn't hear that we hear. We didn't that we heard. We did not say. We don't say that we don't smell if we smell. We don't say that we don't taste when we taste. We don't say that we didn't touch something when we touched. We also do not say that we know when we don't know, or that we see when we didn't see, or that we smelled when we didn't smell, and you know that story. So these seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, we do not say the other way than how we remembered that it was. We can be wrong, and it's totally fine, but we do not intentionally misrepresent. We do not intentionally claim something that we know is not true. All right, then precept number 5, not drinking alcohol, not taking drugs. What if you drink just a little bit? Well, that's the point. If you drink just a little bit, that's the point. To drink just a little bit, somebody will need to make that just a little bit of drink so that you can drink just a little bit. But nobody will make, no one, well, maybe somebody, but it's quite hard to imagine. Nobody will prepare that kind of drink that you will just drink a little bit. So, in order that you can drink a little bit, there are billions of gallons of alcohol in the world. And when you go to a shop, you see whole sections only related to alcohol, and you get advertisements about alcohol in the billboards, in videos, in YouTube, and so on. And um, you hear about it from people that they're drinking alcohol, and then it becomes a tradition. Oh, we drink alcohol on this day, on that day, during this event, during another event. And you're supposed to drink a little bit of alcohol. But what happens? You drink a lot. So we don't want that. And then when kids find out, and kids find out because the billboards are pretty easy to see on the roads, and the ads are very easy to see in YouTube and so on. And the people who are talking about alcohol are very easy to hear. And when you go to the shop, to a supermarket, you can see a lot of alcohol pretty easily. So then, of course, the kids, they would love to try it out too. And then when they try it out, they do not try a little. So that's why we never drink alcohol, even a little, even a drop. And the same thing, of course, goes with the drugs. So these are the 5 precepts. That's the sila. Then we get samadhi. Samadhi would be a whole new lecture, but let's summarize because samadhi is well explained by other very experienced masters. So samadhi here means concentration. And what's the purpose? Why would you need to have samadhi for practicing insight? The main purpose of samadhi is to have the mind clear. What's that? Clear? Do you mean like brainwashing? Or do you mean like being knocked out? Or what is clear mind? So when we speak about clear mind, we mean a very specific state of mind that is not defiled, that is not affected by lust, hatred, restlessness, laziness, restlessness, and doubt. These five need to not arise. One way or another, they should not arise. So how will you do it? That's the point. By concentration practice. If your mind is cleared up from these five things, well, then it's possible to see the present moment and to delve deeply into the nature of the body and the mind, and potentially understand impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self. So our intention is to clear up the mind to the level that it can see the reality as it is. And this clearing up of the mind can be achieved through concentration practice, and according to some commentarial ideas, also through insight practice. But the insight practice is not really it if the mind is not cleared yet. For some people, it's the concentration practice, such as meditation on breath, loving kindness, death, Buddha's qualities, or some kasinas, discs of color or elements, and so on, that helps them to clear up the mind from the five so-called hindrances. When the mind is totally cleared out, five hindrances are not there, well, then you're ready to start up your insight practice. If the mind is not cleared up and these five hindrances still arise in the mind, well, then what do you want to do? You will have to deal with the five hindrances, one way or another. And until you're dealing with the five hindrances, there is no way how you can really see the reality as it is, because you're blocked from that seeing. That's why they're called hindrances. They hinder you from progress in either samatha, into jhanas, or in vipassana, into development of your bodhjangas, your factors of awakening. So we want to clear out the mind from the five hindrances so that we can nicely and clearly observe the arising and passing moments of the body and the mind. Okay, so let's summarize a little before we move on to the questions and answers section. So the first um, level of purification is developing your morality. It's very important to have our mind free from all remorse, and we achieve that through following the five precepts, through following the eight precepts. If you want, it's also recommended to lay people, believe it or not, to follow 10 precepts. Although, unlike the 5 and 10 precepts, which are recommended to follow even every day, 10 precepts, which involve additionally not using or touching or accepting money, are suggested only temporarily, for example, for the 3 months of the rains retreat, for lay people. I'm repeating that 10 precepts are recommended for lay people, albeit temporarily, such as for the 3 months of the rains retreat. And with this virtue, you may be able to prevent some of the most powerful remorse that could hinder your progress in your practice. When that's achieved, and you can achieve it within a moment by a strong determination to follow the precepts, then in your meditation, if a remorse comes related to a distant past, that means to a past before your last determination, then you may remind yourself, now I am an exquisite, excellent living being because now I follow the precepts. It's not that you follow the precepts by not breaking them. It's that you follow the precepts by not breaking them under any circumstances at this moment. So we are ready for anything. We will follow the rules regardless what will happen. That's the determination, which is true sila. Not just, I am not killing anyone, so I'm fine. Not at all. It's this strength, this power, determination. It's also called virya, effort. It's fourfold. And in this case, we are talking about the second factor of the. It's also called the right striving, the samma padhana, but it's also vayama, samma vayama in samma padhana and samma vayama in the Eightfold Noble Path. So the second factor is that you prevent all all unskillful thoughts from arising in your mind. So there's this determination. Under any circumstance, I will always follow my rules. And then we were talking about concentration. So we follow the concentration practice so that we get free from the five hindrances, from lust, ill will, laziness, restlessness, and doubt, and thereby make it possible, make ourselves potentially able to see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self in the body and in the mind. So that's all for this lecture or lesson or meeting, whatever you want to call it. And I would like to invite you, everybody, to ask me any questions, anything you would like to know. Now's the best time to ask.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante. It's quite insightful. And yes, following the morality, the virtues, whether it's 5 precepts, 8 precepts, or 10 precepts, it really helps. And the concentration, because in the case if you would have not followed those precepts, those thoughts would have come. But now those thoughts are completely eradicated, and we know that we are not doing any bad things and following the precepts in a beautiful way. So really appreciate your insightful sharing on that, Bhante. And IDs, there are few questions, Bhante. Um, there's one from Sud. Dear Venerable, what is the merit of metta bhavana? Also, would anything that would cause remorse, basically not virtues?
Okay, so those are two. Um, let's get, yeah, please keep it there because when somebody asks me two questions, I usually forget the second one. So please keep it up there or whatever. So the first merit of loving kindness. So let's see. The English word merit is basically what will you get back for loving kindness. So let's explain it in this manner. Uh, there are 11 things that you get for following, for radiating loving kindness, explained by the Buddha in Metta Nisangsa Sutta, also known as Metta Sutta of Anguttara Nikaya 11. And they are falling asleep peacefully, sleeping peacefully, having no bad dreams, being loved by humans, being protected by deities, being loved by non-humans such as animals, being um, immune to any attack by fire, weapon, or poison, having um, calmed appearance in your face or cleared up face, then easily concentrating on anything you want to concentrate. So loving kindness is a very good basis for following any other meditation practice. If you die peacefully. And 11 is when you die, if you have to die, you are born in a Brahma world, unless you are already an arahant, so that you would pass into Parinibbana. So, so these are the 11 benefits of loving kindness. And how long time would you go to the Brahma world if you did not achieve Parinibbana? Well, it seems for one Brahma life per year of loving kindness. But probably you'd have to achieve the third jhana of loving kindness. We believe that it's not possible to achieve higher than the third jhana of loving kindness, because for the fourth, you would have to give up the peace, sukha, and therefore the object of loving kindness would be gone. How do you meditate on breath in the fourth jhana when you have to give up breath? That's something I'd love to understand. You have to give up breath for fourth jhana, but still it's meditation on breath. You have to give up peace for fourth jhana, but it's no more loving kindness. So this is one thing that I don't know how to answer yet. Anyway, for loving kindness, we have the story of the Buddha to be who meditated in the forest 7 years, loving kindness. He then passed away and he was born 7 times consecutively as a Brahma. And so, from that story, I assume that for 1 year of intensive practice of loving kindness, here we are talking about the third jhana, you would be born for one whole lifespan of a Brahma life. And of course, loving kindness is very powerful for vipassana, for insight, because first, loving kindness makes sure that your environment, inside and outside, is peaceful, and you seriously need peaceful to be peaceful, because your peace is one of the factors of enlightenment. It's called pasadhi. Pasadhi in the Pali Burmese dictionary is translated by the word of peace. So we want to have peace, all right, and loving kindness can make it for us. And also loving kindness fulfills for you the second and third um, facet of the second factor of the Eightfold Noble Path. So you get 2/3 of right attitude just through loving kindness. So these are the merits, these are the huge benefits of loving kindness. Loving kindness has many, many more benefits, but I've just said some of those that are mentioned in the scriptures. Also, would anything that would cause remorse be basically not virtuous? So that's not true. Okay? That's not true. Not everything that causes remorse uh, can be non-virtuous. For example, you may be remorseful of not doing something evil, or of not eating more, or of not sleeping more, or of not asking somebody for something you want. You could be remorseful for not going somewhere or not visiting somebody. And that's not necessarily non virtuous. It actually could be virtuous that you didn't do it. It's just that you're remorseful due to the so called distortion of a view. Distortion of view is a little bit specific topic, but let's brush it off in brief. So, distortion of view is 12-fold. There are 12 kinds of distortion. I think so. But we will talk simply. So we get distortion of view when you see permanence in impermanence, when you see satisfaction or pleasure or meaning in that what is undesirable, when you see self or reliability in that what is not self, and the fourth one is when you see beauty in that what is ugly. So seeing permanence in impermanence, pleasure in what's suffering or unsatisfactoriness, self in not self, and beauty in ugliness. So these are four main kinds of distortion of view. And so if you are remorseful due to your distortion of view, well, then that remorse itself, actually remorse alone, is not virtuous. It's a hindrance. So it's actually a kind of unskillful thought. Remorse for doing something bad will probably not take you to any bad world, like to hell. Actually, it can. Actually, it can. But I believe it's rare. But it can. There's this case of Mallika, of the Queen Mallika, who was remorseful of telling a lie to the king, and then she was born in hell. But she was born in hell for a very short time, for about 7 days, and then she went to heaven. Why was it just 7 days? Well, because she was supporting the Buddha and monks every day for many years. So remorse actually is a bad thing, but we don't want to go to the level where you'd say, okay, so if I killed or stole or committed adultery, I should not be remorseful of that. You definitely should, but in the correct way. How are you remorseful in the correct way? I will never do it again. Now I'm free from doing that again. That's how you are remorseful in the proper way, in the skillful way. If you're remorseful in the way, oh, I'm so evil, I did this, oh, that was so bad, I'm just so evil, well, sorry, that's not a skillful remorse. But if you make the determination, this, what I did, was a lesson for me, and I have learned, I will never do it again, then that's actually very skillful. So remorse is good if it's done properly, and if it's a remorse based on distortion of view, then actually that is unskillful. So we want to be happy that we ate less, that we slept less. But it's good to maintain some health. You know, you don't want to die too soon. Human life is quite rare, so we want to cherish it and be healthy and stay fully energetic and available so that we can meditate and study Dhamma and become enlightened as soon as possible. So it's very important for us to sleep enough, to eat enough, but at the same time, we don't sleep more, we don't eat more than is necessary for us to be healthy, to meditate, to practice Dhamma. All right, so that's my answer.
Thank you, Ante. We have this question from Sud. I heard that as long as one follows the five precepts, there's a high chance that they will avoid the lower realms. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. That's very accurate. This high chance. I love it. Well said. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Because you cannot make it 100% sure. The only way how you can make 100% sure that you won't be born in a lower realm is to become enlightened, at least to the first level of enlightenment. We have 4 levels of enlightenment: stream entry, once return, non-return, arahanthood. And the first level, stream entry, makes 100% sure that you will not be born in lower realms. 5 precepts increase the probability that you will not be born in the lower realms, but it doesn't really say anything. Maybe in one of your past lives, you have done some heinous crime because of which you would have to be born in lower realms, despite despite the fact you are following those 5 precepts. So they do not really serve as an assurance. They're not really an insurance that you will never go to lower realms, but they increase the probability that you will be born as a human or in the higher realms. And very important point is that now you are humans, or I do not expect deities to listen to us now. Maybe they do, but now I'm talking to you as humans, and for you as humans, you all have already done it. You've already done it in one of your past lives. You did follow 5 precepts, and that's why you are humans now. So if you are able to follow the 5 precepts so well that you were successful, you were very obviously, evidently, you see, I have the proof that you're successful, that you're humans now. So if you could be successful in the past, well, then you can be successful now as well. And based on your following 5 precepts, you can make sure that in the future, maybe not the next life, but surely in the future, you will be born as a human or even higher. So it's very high chance. It's definitely high chance, but it's not enough. It's not enough for your safety. The only thing that's enough is to become at least a stream enter, is to achieve at least the first level of enlightenment.
Thank you so much, Bhante. There is one more question from Sud about the Kamisu Michachara. And
Yes. I don't know. Okay, I thought you were reading it. So, for Kamisu Michachara precept apply to entertainment which would cause one's mind to be filled with desire, etc., such as explicit romantic movies and so on. No, Kamisu Michachara must be um, sexual intercourse. Mind in the mind, if that's related to brahmacharya, and that's different. Kama Sumichajara is very specifically related to you coming into physical contact with a woman or with a man who are married, or you who are married, or both of you, and having a sexual intercourse, not through some mind or something like that. There would have to be full out sexual intercourse. But, um, Kamesu Michachara um, is something that's very serious. It's something that would be practically destroying your family relationship. For example, the man who's married, he will have sex with another woman than who's his spouse, and so then the woman has a child. So now the man will not be able to support his family completely, because he will have to support his extramarital child, and this could be a problem. All right, and it could destroy the trust of his present lady, and also he might not be able really to take care of the extramarital child. So as you can see, it's very practical. These 5 precepts, they're extremely practical. It's like very down to earth, very down to earth. We don't kill because if I don't kill, there's a high probability that somebody will not kill me. It just makes so much sense. We don't steal so that I increase the probability that somebody does not steal from me, in return, or that I am not flogged or expelled from the country or imprisoned and so on. I think it just makes so much sense. We don't commit adultery so that when the wife finds out, she doesn't kick us out of the home, or she doesn't leave away, with our so-called child. And we do not cause another trouble to the extramarital child. And we do not cause the trouble to the lady who's married when she has a baby with us who's not her spouse. And not telling lies. Well, we do not tell lies so that people believe us. If you never tell lies, well, then people trust you. If you tell lies, people don't trust you. It doesn't just make sense so much. We don't drink alcohol so that, again, people trust us. So then when we do something, when we say something, people know, yes, this person is sober. And so this person knows what they're doing, or they're doing their best. They're not influenced by some intoxication. So these 5 precepts are extremely down to earth, Watching explicit romantic movies, you probably are talking about porn. Yeah, that's bad, but it's a little bit different sphere. It's a little different level. The Buddha explained in Parivara Pali, which is the 5th book of Vinaya Pitaka, something that's very much related to lay people. And what is it is that in this world, there are 5 kinds of donation that are commonly understood as good, but in fact, they are bad. They are demerit. They bring about suffering in the future to the donor. What are they? Well, I don't remember all of the five, but I'll tell you those that I remember. And they are donation of alcohol, donation of animals, donation of women, and donation of sexually arousing images. And there will be one more. I would have to find it out. You can ask me about that another time. And these donations should not be done. So if I ever accept donation of another person that brings them a bad deed, well, then that's bad from me. I should not accept donation from somebody. I should not accept a donation that harms another person, right? So if somebody is giving me alcohol, well, then I should not accept alcohol, not because I don't want to drink alcohol, but because I don't want to support another person in causing themselves suffering by this bad deed of donating alcohol. The same way, I don't want to watch porn because by watching porn, I'm supporting another person's donating porn. And out of my compassion and loving kindness, I just don't do that. Not because of me, although that's also a very good thing, but also because of the other person. And so we do not engage in watching porn. We don't engage in drinking alcohol. We don't engage in accepting, animals for slaughter. Probably animals for taking care of, is fine, but not for slaughter. Why did I say probably? Because I actually don't believe that it's okay. I don't believe that it's good that you have a pet at home. Yeah, because you have a pet, but what about the other animals in the shop that didn't happen to be sold? Do you know what happens to them? They are drowned or gassed to death in hundreds of thousands, in millions every year, only so that you can have your amazing pet. You don't like to hear it? Well, there are many things I don't like to hear it, and I have to hear them. So that's the thing. So we do not support others in donating us something that will cause them suffering. All right. So I do not want to accept alcohol, porn, or animal, or whatever else, because not only because I don't want to do something bad, but also because I'm compassionate towards the other person who is attempting to donate it to me. They may probably donate it to someone else, but at least I have shown to them that what they're doing is not amazing because they believe it's amazing. It's a great thing that they're doing it because they're giving it, right? Isn't giving a good thing? That's the point. If it's giving the wrong thing, it's not good.
Thank you so much, Bhante. There is one more question. Thank you, sir, for answering these questions with so much patience. How does one use metta as a springboard to insight? Can you please clarify?
Yes. So this is a question directly very well probably for me because on our meditation retreats, I first teach loving kindness and then the students transition directly from loving kindness to vipassana practice. They observe first repulsiveness of the body. Burmese masters suggest that a proper vipassana starts with meditation on the body and then you move on to meditating, to observing the mind. So in our meditation retreats, we first start with loving kindness, and then we move on to vipassana or satipatthana. Is not sure whether more accurate, but it's another way of saying it. So how do we do that? How do I instruct the students to practice loving kindness so that it takes them to vipassana, so that it leads them, it guides them towards vipassana? So the password here is Sattesu Upekha. Sattesu upekha, equanimity towards living beings. So the practice that I teach in loving kindness is coming from Sri Lanka, from the great master, Venerable Pema Siddhi. He doesn't wish that I say where he lives for whatever reason, so I don't say it. And he taught me the 16 levels of loving kindness practice. So we start radiating loving kindness to 5 people that we love. When we develop a very powerful loving kindness, very powerful experience in our mind towards these 5 people that we already love, we then stop radiating loving kindness to these 5 people and we start radiating loving kindness to 5 people that we neither love nor hate. The aim here is to develop the same experience in the mind during radiating loving kindness to the 5 so-called neutral people as we had with the 5 beloved people. So we put them on the same level, but not by decreasing. We only increase. Then, when we have achieved the same kind of experience, the same kind of amazing, peaceful, loving experience during our loving kindness towards the 5 neutral people, as we had with our 5 beloved people, then we stop radiating loving kindness to the neutral people and we take up 5 so-called, that's how I call them, difficult people or challenging people. Those are the people who maybe deceived you in the past or told you a lie or harmed somebody you love or are weird or you are afraid of them and so on. The aim here is to develop the same kind of experience and attitude towards these 5 difficult or challenging people as you had with the 5 beloved and the 5 neutral. So at the so-called 15th level, you have achieved the same experience, the same attitude, the same love towards all people in the world. Those who you love, those who you neither love nor hate, and those who you would potentially um, um, not love. When your attitude is exactly the same to these 15 people, because you choose those people, then you move on to the level 16, where you radiate loving kindness to all living beings. And the aim here is to, universalize, to see the sameness among all living beings, including you. So that at the level 16, where you are also included, but you actually start radiating loving kindness to yourself. But I skip that because I want to get to the Satya Supekha. So you, in the end, radiate loving kindness to both of you and all the other living beings without any distinction, to the highest ever possible level, gradually going deeper, stronger, more and more powerful in your concentration, in your peace, in your love. And you get warmer, probably not in the body, but surely in the heart. You get warmer and warmer. That love becomes more and more motherly like. Then what happens is that your attitude towards all living beings is exactly the same as towards you. And it's this sameness, this satte supekha, this equanimity. So you are equanimous, your equilibrium is fully spread out among all living beings, including yourself. So you do not really see any difference in the ultimate level. Of course, you still recognize your mom and dad in comparison to your brother or your neighbor and so on, or a monk or a nun and so on. But you consider them all the same way worthy of love. And then, with this attitude, you move on to observing the body, the repulsiveness of the body. And you consider the repulsiveness of the body, the nature in the body, the same in this one as in the other bodies in the world. And the same thing is with the mind. You consider the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and not self in your mind and in the mind of all other living beings as the same thing. Nobody has a body, a physical body, more permanent than you. Nobody has physical body less unsatisfactory than you. Nobody has at least a little bit more self than you. All of us have exactly the same impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self in the body and the mind. And to understand that is difficult. Think about parents or children who love their parents. Well, for parents, their bodies and minds are not permanent. They understand it pretty clearly, especially if they're old. Impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self, this body, this mind, they understand it pretty well, but not with their children. And if you have a spouse, if you're happily married, no, you will not find it easy to see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self, to the same level in yourself as in your spouse, in your children, in your parents, in your friends, in other people or other living beings, in addition to you. So the idea of loving kindness in my meditation retreats is to get you to understand the sameness. And when there is sameness among living beings, you can then build on it to the level where you achieve the sameness among all conditioned phenomena. And that's a pretty high level, because that's the 10th level of insight knowledge, and just a few levels up, and that's called enlightenment. So equanimity towards all formations or towards all conditioned phenomena is a pretty high level. And to achieve that, you will have to see the three characteristics in all living beings exactly the same.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante. I really appreciate you guiding us with the meditation and with the Dhamma talk and clarifying those questions to all our participants. I'm so much grateful to you, Venerable. Thank you so much. And I do not see any much more questions, but our participants are appreciating you. Thank you. And I'm sorry about this light and dark. The sunrise is there, so sorry about that changes in the background. And Bhante, maybe we can conclude the session with your permission, with the blessings you share with all of us, Bhante.
Yes. I'd like to suggest that we conclude this meeting inspired by the Burmese tradition. In Myanmar, when you finish a meeting, a Dhamma meeting, you make a wish, you make a determination. And that is that the Buddha's teachings remains pure for a long time. We have this wish mentioned in our scriptures, so it's not really something new. So I would like to invite everybody to recite together with me this sentence, which means, may the pure Dhamma stay for a long time. So you can put your hands together at the chest and you can repeat after me. Chirang Tiṭṭhatu Saddhammo. Chirang Tiṭṭhatu Saddhammo. Chirang Tithatu Sabdhammo. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante, for the blessings. It was wonderful to see you and listen to you, Bhante. And thanks to all the participants for joining every Sunday. Looking forward to see you all. And please support Dhamma USA. And for more details, you can visit Dhamma USA YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone. And thank you so much, Bhante.